What's up chaps, so recently I've been playing Need for Speed Shift again. I've done a couple of videos on this game already, originally as a response to Guild Wars Buddy who showed it off out of nowhere on his channel. I wasn't aware that there was a more serious flavour of racing in the Need for Speed franchise until he showed me otherwise, so I picked it up based purely off of what he showed off, and I was mainly interested in the cockpit view since I'd never played a racing game that had it before. The other video I did was a proper Quids In review, which I'll link in the description of this video because I was relatively happy with it. If I did have one thing I'd like to change about that video though, it would be the footage, which is... I think I focused a bit too much on the details that the game offers and managed to somehow neglect the actual racing parts quite a lot. So here's my solution, just pure motorsport gameplay. Well, actually that's a lie, because I'm going to show off a few of the cars in my fake garage here. A few noteworthy mentions for me are the 1967 Ford Mustang, it's a beautiful machine and its modern counterpart is too. The BMW M3 E46, which is a scale model car that I've had on a shelf since I was a kid. Two Skylines, the R34 and the R35, which are so satisfying to drive. And the many crazy fast lighter cars like the Pagani Zonda R and the various Lamborghinis. All these cars come with a few choices of liveries, and you can make your own through clever use of vinyls and paint, so it's got a pretty satisfying level of customization. But we're here for sticking them on the track and pushing those apexes, so let's talk about that a bit. After now beating the game fully, I've come to realise that it's way more of an arcade game than it is a realistic sim. And that shouldn't be much of a surprise to anyone, but it's still a fun track racer regardless. I do have major issues with the AI, though. As I stated in the Quids In review, I just can't stand how frustrating it is that they love to ram you and drive so aggressively. It doesn't seem to matter to them how they do in a race, as long as you do badly, which really kills any sort of realism and believability when it comes to overtaking and driving safely. Granted, I don't know a whole lot about track safety and overtaking etiquette, but I think most of the time I try not to drive so hard on corners and try to be reasonably realistic when it comes to my decisions. However, I guarantee that turn 1 will always have a horrendous pile-up, with or without you involved. So it can be fun to navigate those, but usually you have to be patient with the AI, at least in turn 1. I am not, though. I like to push my luck and try to make as many positions as possible in that situation, which usually ends up causing a lot of restarts on the grid. There's actually mods to fix this, but I didn't find out until I was already done, so, well. There's also a few assists that you can turn on and off or alter the strength of. In the bottom right you can see 3 icons that sometimes turn red, indicating when these are helping me out. I do run with the racing line on, which is fairly obvious because I enjoy being able to get the most out of a car without having to guess where braking zones are in every new one that I drive. I also have ABS on, traction control set to low, and stability control on as well. Or I did in these clips, but I later turned them off for more of a connection to the vehicles. I absolutely felt the difference when I did turn these off as well. It's super easy to lock the brakes if you're not careful, but way easier to stop more effectively if you are, so there's a good trade-off there. Stability and traction control though haven't really come into play that much. I do get some oversteer moments here and there, but when it does go into a full-on spin, it's nothing that traction control would have helped with anyway. Basically what I'm saying is that it's harder to drive, but way more fun without those assists. The track variety is decent as well. I'm a big fan of Spa in this game, even if I do screw up Bredilion and Poon all the time. And Nordschleife is a great challenging drive all around thanks to the narrow roads and really high curbs that can send you flying if you take them a bit awkwardly. I don't quite know what I've been showing you in this video yet, but I had a few satisfying laps here and there in a Rebenton, in a Corvette around Brands Hatch, and in a Lexus LFA around Laguna Seca. Those were some fun laps. But anyway, I think I've gone on long enough, so I think I'll leave it there. Do let me know if you've played Shift before and what you thought of it, or if there's any other similar games that I should have a look at on PC. Otherwise, just thanks for watching.